When I woke up that morning, I didn't expect my entire life to flip upside down before breakfast. I remember it clearly. The sun was barely peeking through my blinds when I walked into the kitchen, half asleep, craving coffee. But then I noticed something odd. My mom wasn't there. Normally, she'd be sitting by the window, sipping her tea, scrolling through her phone. But her chair was empty, her cup untouched, and that's when a cold chill ran down my spine. Just the night before, I had placed $10 million in her safe. Yeah, 10 million. I know it sounds insane, but let me explain. I'd been saving up for my business deals, investments, and years of sleepless hustle. I didn't trust banks after what happened to my friend, who got scammed by a rogue manager. My mom always told me her safe was like Fort Knox, unbreakable and hidden behind layers of steel and concrete in her bedroom closet. I trusted her with my life, so why not my money too? But that morning, everything felt wrong. Her shoes were gone. Her toothbrush was missing. Her favorite sweater that she never traveled without wasn't hanging on the coat rack. Panic kicked in, and my heart pounded as I sprinted to her bedroom. The closet was wide open. The safe was gone. Not just open, but gone. Ripped out of the floor like someone had yanked it out with a crane. For a second, I just stood there frozen, staring at the empty space with dust and broken tiles scattered around. Thoughts started racing through my mind. Did someone break in last night? Did my mom get kidnapped? Did she run away? No, it couldn't be. She wouldn't do this to me, right? My phone buzzed in my pocket, breaking the silence in the room. It was a text from an unknown number. I opened it with trembling hands. All it said was, "Don't bother looking for her." I swear my knees almost gave out. I fell to the floor, staring at the message, feeling every memory of my mom flood through me, her gentle hugs when I felt broken, the way she always smelled like vanilla and soap, the way she never failed to call me her little champion, even when I felt like the biggest loser in the world. Now she was gone with $10 million. But here's the thing. As my tears started drying on my cheeks, something inside me shifted. A memory flickered in my mind, and my lips curled into a smile. Because only I knew what was truly inside that safe. Only I knew what my mom had actually run away with. $10 million was just a small part of it. There was something far bigger, far darker, hidden beneath those stacks of cash. Something that would change everything about who I was, who she was, and why she had to vanish. I stood up, wiped my face, and laughed to myself. Because while everyone else thought I had lost my money, they had no idea what was about to unfold. And, trust me, neither did my mom. I walked around her bedroom in silence, letting the emptiness sink in. The curtains fluttered softly from the breeze coming through the slightly open window. It was like she had just disappeared into thin air. My chest felt tight as memories kept hitting me, her laughter echoing through the house, her cooking filling every corner with warmth, the way she used to scold me for working too late at night. I never thought she'd be the reason my world would go silent. I sat down on her bed, staring at the broken floor where the safe used to be. The money wasn't the real reason I put it there. Sure, 10 million is life-changing, but what was hidden underneath those bundles was worth more than anything. My mom never knew about it. Or at least I thought she didn't. But as I sat there thinking about every small conversation we'd had in the last few weeks, a strange feeling started creeping up on me. She had been asking weird questions lately. Things like, "Do you ever keep secrets from me?" Or, "If you had to hide something forever, where would you keep it?" At the time, I just laughed and brushed it off as one of her random life questions. Now, it all felt connected. I stood up and walked to her closet, running my fingers across the empty shelves. There used to be rows of dresses, boxes of old photo albums, and a tiny locked jewelry box she never let me touch. It was gone too. That's when I realized she didn't leave in a hurry. She took her time. She packed what she needed, removed every trace she could, and planned her exit perfectly. Which meant she had been planning this for a while. My phone buzzed again. Another text from the same unknown number. This time it read, "She made her choice. Now you make yours." My hands started shaking as I read those words over and over. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Who was sending these messages? Were they with her? Were they watching me right now? I looked around the room, suddenly feeling exposed. I quickly shut the curtains and locked the windows. My mind was racing, wondering who else knew about what was in that safe. Because beneath the cash, hidden in a sealed metal compartment, was a drive containing something that could destroy powerful people. It held videos, documents, voice recordings, bank details, proof of illegal deals, secret transactions, and hidden crimes committed by people everyone believed were untouchable. I had collected it over the years as insurance for myself. If anything ever happened to me, this drive was my ticket to protection. But now my mom had it. I felt a sharp pain in my chest thinking about what could happen to her if she didn't know how dangerous that drive was. Did she run away with it knowingly? Or did she think she was just stealing money from her own son? I couldn't wrap my head around it. All I knew was that every second she had it, she was in danger. But what terrified me even more was wondering if she betrayed me or if someone forced her to do it. I took a deep breath, wiped the sweat from my forehead, and clenched my fists. Whoever took her, or whatever plan she had, I needed to find her before it was too late. Because that drive wasn't just my insurance, it was a death sentence for anyone holding it without knowing how to survive its secrets. I spent the rest of that morning pacing around the living room, my thoughts spiraling out of control. Every few minutes, I checked my phone hoping for another text, something that could tell me where she was or who was behind this. But the screen stayed silent, the same black reflection staring back at me. I felt so helpless, like the walls were closing in on me. I tried calling her number again, but it went straight to voicemail. Her gentle voice telling me to leave a message and I'll call you back felt like a cruel joke now. I knew I couldn't go to the police. If they found out about the drive, everything I had been protecting would come crashing down. It wasn't just about me anymore. There were innocent people connected to those secrets, people who would be destroyed if any of that information leaked out. I grabbed my laptop and pulled up the security footage from the cameras installed around her house. As the videos loaded, I clenched my jaw. The footage was gone. Every single file from last night had been wiped clean. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing. I decided to call Marcus, my oldest friend, and the only person who knew about the drive. When he picked up, his voice was groggy, like I had woken him up. "Bro, it's 6 in the morning. What's going on?" "She's gone," I whispered, trying to keep my voice steady. "Who's gone?"
My mom.
"She took the safe. The money."
The drive.
For a second, there was silence on the line. Then Marcus cursed under his breath. "You told me the safe was hidden. You told me no one knew." "I thought no one did," I said, my voice cracking. "But someone found out. Either she took it herself, or someone forced her." Marcus sighed deeply. "You know what that means, right? If they have the drive, they're going to come after you next." "I know," I said, swallowing hard. "That's why I need your help." He promised to come over in an hour. I ended the call and sat down on the couch, staring at the family photos lined up on the shelf across from me. There was one of me as a kid, sitting on her lap, with cake smeared all over my face. She was smiling down at me, eyes full of love and pride. I wondered if any of that was real. Had she been planning this all along? Was everything she ever told me a lie? But then another thought crossed my mind.
What if she didn't know about the drive?
What if someone told her to take the safe thinking it was just about the money? If that was the case, she was walking straight into danger without even realizing it. That idea tore at my heart more than the betrayal ever could. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a different number, and the message was even more chilling than before. It said, "She is what we need. You have 24 hours to disappear, or we come for you next." My hands trembled as I read those words. The tension in my chest tightened like a vice, and I could feel every beat of my heart echo in my ears. I knew there was no running away from this. Not now. Not ever. Marcus arrived faster than I expected. I heard his car tires screech outside before he barged into the living room, his hair a mess and his shirt half tucked in. He didn't even bother with greetings. He just looked at me with wide eyes full of fear and urgency. "Show me everything," he said, dropping his laptop bag on the table. I pulled up the empty security files and showed him the messages. His hands clenched into fists as he read them. "This is bad," he muttered under his breath, pacing back and forth. "If they know about you, about the drive, they're going to keep coming until they get what they want." My mind kept flashing back to my mom. Her soft smile, her quiet strength. I couldn't accept that she betrayed me so easily. But the words in the messages, the missing safe, the wiped footage, everything screamed that she was gone by choice. Still, deep down, a part of me refused to believe she would ever hurt me like this unless she had no choice. Marcus slammed his hand on the table, snapping me out of my thoughts. "Listen to me. We have two options. Either we run before they get here, or we find your mom first and fix this before it's too late." I shook my head. "I'm not leaving her. If she's with them, they'll kill her the second they realize what's really on that drive. They think it's just blackmail or money leverage. But if they see what's inside..." Marcus nodded grimly. He opened his laptop and started typing rapidly. I watched the reflection of codes and files flicker in his glasses as he tried to trace the number that had been texting me. My heart pounded against my ribs, so hard I felt like it would break through my chest. The room felt suffocating, the ticking of the old wall clock drilling into my head with each passing second. After what felt like hours, Marcus finally looked up, his face pale. "I found an IP ping. It's bouncing through multiple locations, but the last real trace was from the docks. Warehouse district. That's gang territory." A chill spread through my body. That area was crawling with underground syndicates, people who traded in weapons, stolen cars, even humans. If they had her... I couldn't even finish the thought. I grabbed my jacket and shoved my phone in my pocket. Marcus grabbed my arm before I could leave. "You can't just walk in there alone," he said, his voice shaking slightly. "These people don't play games. If you go in without a plan, you're signing your own death certificate." I pulled away from his grip. "Then come up with a plan while I drive. I'm not wasting another second sitting here." As we left the house, I could feel the air shift. The city outside felt different that morning. Colder. Emptier. Like it knew something terrible was about to happen. As we sped down the deserted streets, my mind kept replaying her voice in my head, the way she used to say, "No matter what happens, always remember who you are." But right now, I didn't know who I was anymore. A son looking for his mother, a man trying to save his secrets, or someone about to lose everything he ever cared for in the next few hours. The drive to the docks felt like it took forever. Every traffic light felt like a threat. Every passing car felt like someone watching us. Marcus was silent the entire way, typing on his laptop, scanning files, and checking satellite maps. I kept glancing at him, hoping he'd say something reassuring, but his tight jaw and furrowed brows told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't going to end well if we weren't careful. When we finally pulled up near the warehouses, the sky was turning gray, heavy clouds hanging low, matching the dread sitting in my chest. We parked behind an old rusted truck to keep the car hidden. Marcus showed me his screen. "They're using jammers. I can't get a live feed inside. But there's heat signatures. A lot of them. Your mom might be in there." I nodded, trying to calm my shaking hands. My mind was racing with plans, worst-case scenarios, and every possible outcome. But nothing could prepare me for what happened next. As we were about to get out of the car, my phone buzzed again. Another text from an unknown number. But this time, it wasn't a threat. It was a video. I opened it with trembling fingers, and the screen filled with shaky footage. My mom was sitting on a metal chair, her hands tied behind her back. Her hair was messy, and there was a cut on her forehead. She looked terrified. Behind her stood a man in a black jacket, face hidden under a hood. He spoke in a cold, emotionless voice. "You think you're smart hiding things from us? We know about the drive. We know what's inside. You have 1 hour to bring us the decryption key, or she dies." My vision blurred with rage and fear. I slammed the phone down on the dashboard, breathing hard. "They want the decryption key," I whispered, feeling my throat tighten. Marcus looked at me with wide eyes. "Wait, they know about the encryption?" I nodded slowly, my mind spinning. The drive was useless without the decryption key. But the twist was I never kept the key on any device or paper. I memorized it. A 256-character code burned into my memory after years of practice. No one else knew it, which meant they were going to kill her unless I gave them what they wanted. Marcus cursed under his breath. They're bluffing. They can't do anything with the drive without the key. But if they know about the encryption, that means someone close to you told them. Someone who knew exactly how you protected it. That's when the second twist hit me like a sledgehammer. My mind flashed back to 2 weeks ago. My mom had been meeting someone regularly, a man I never met. She said he was helping her with legal paperwork for the house. But what if he wasn't just a lawyer? What if he was the one who told them about the drive? What if she didn't plan this at all, and she was just a pawn in someone else's game? I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms, so hard I felt blood rise to the surface. My heart pounded with rage, fear, and a sudden determination. Whoever this man was, he dragged my mother into a world she didn't deserve. And now, if I didn't find him before they hurt her, I would lose everything. As thunder rumbled across the darkening sky, I realized this was bigger than just money or secrets. This was war. I took a deep breath, feeling the cold air fill my lungs as I stepped out of the car. Marcus grabbed my arm, his grip tight. "You sure about this?" he asked, his voice low and shaky. "I don't have a choice," I whispered. My eyes were locked on the massive gray warehouse in front of us. It looked abandoned from the outside, but I could see shadows moving inside through the cracked windows. Every step I took felt heavy, like the ground was pulling me down, but I forced myself forward. My mom's terrified face kept flashing in my mind, pushing me on. As we approached the entrance, 2 men in black jackets stepped out, guns pointed at us. "The key," one of them growled, his eyes hidden behind dark sunglasses even though the sun hadn't come up. "Give us the key, and she lives." I raised my hand slowly. "I want to see her first." They hesitated, then signaled for us to move inside. The smell of rust and oil filled the warehouse. The place was lit with flickering yellow lights hanging from the ceiling. My eyes darted around until they landed on her. My mom was tied to the chair in the center of the room, her eyes red from crying. When she saw me, she shook her head desperately, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Don't do it," she whispered through trembling lips. A tall man stepped forward, pulling off his hood. I froze when I saw his face. It was the man she had been meeting, the so-called lawyer. But his eyes weren't kind and gentle like I remembered. They were cold, sharp, and filled with greed. He smirked at me. "You know, your mom here didn't even know what she was carrying. She thought she was just stealing money. But when I told her what was really in that safe, she almost fainted." My hands curled into fists. "Let her go. I'll give you the key." He raised an eyebrow. "How do I know you're not lying?" Without a word, I recited the first 10 characters of the decryption key. His eyes widened, and a wicked grin spread across his face. "Good boy," he said, snapping his fingers. One of the men untied my mom. She stumbled to her feet and ran to me, sobbing into my chest. I wrapped my arms around her tightly, feeling her warm tears soak my shirt. But then, out of nowhere, Marcus moved. He pulled out a tiny flashbang from his pocket and threw it at the ground. The warehouse exploded in white light and piercing noise. I grabbed my mom and pulled her behind a stack of old crates as the men shouted and fired blindly. Marcus tackled one of them, knocking the gun out of his hand. I could barely hear anything, my ears ringing from the blast, but I saw the tall man running towards the drive he had placed on a table nearby. With adrenaline pumping through my veins, I sprinted towards him, tackled him to the ground, and grabbed the drive before he could react. He looked up at me, his nose bleeding from the impact, and laughed bitterly. "You think this is over? You've just started a war you can't win." But before I could reply, Marcus grabbed me by the shoulder. "We need to go. Now." As we ran out of the warehouse, dragging my mom with us, the final twist hit me like a brick to the chest. In her trembling hand, clutched tight against her chest, was a tiny folded paper. Later, when we were safe, I opened it. My mom had written it while she was tied up. All it said was, I knew about the drive.
I'm sorry.
I was trying to protect you. And in that moment, I realized the truth. She never betrayed me. She was fighting for me in her own way, and now, everything had changed forever. We didn't stop running until we reached the car. My mom sat in the back seat, her head resting against the window, eyes closed as silent tears kept falling down her cheeks. Marcus was driving like his life depended on it, and maybe it did. I sat in the front seat, staring at the tiny folded note in my hand, trying to process everything that had happened in the last few hours. The sun was starting to rise, painting the sky with faint shades of gold and orange, but it felt like there was no light left in my chest. When we finally reached my apartment, I helped my mom inside and made her sit on the couch. Her hands were trembling as she tried to drink the glass of water I handed her. I sat down across from her, feeling a heaviness in my chest I couldn't describe. For a while, neither of us spoke. The silence between us was louder than any words could be. Then she looked up at me, her eyes tired and swollen from crying. "I didn't want you to find out like this," she whispered, her voice cracking. "Why didn't you tell me you knew?" I asked softly, my heart aching with every word. "Why did you take the safe?" She shook her head slowly. "I didn't take it for me. That man, he came to me weeks ago. He told me if I didn't get what he wanted, he would kill you. I thought if I gave him the money, he would leave you alone. I didn't know about the drive until he told me that night. By then it was too late. I'm so sorry, baby. I was just trying to keep you safe." I felt a tear slip down my cheek as I reached out and held her shaking hands. "You don't ever have to apologize for protecting me, Mom," I said, my voice trembling. "But from now on, we protect each other. No more secrets." Marcus cleared his throat from the kitchen. I wiped the drive and copied everything onto a secure cloud server under a fake identity. They won't be able to trace it anymore. But we have to lay low for a while. These people don't give up easily. I nodded slowly, feeling the exhaustion sink into my bones. But for the first time in years, I felt something else too.
Peace.
Because no matter how dangerous the world outside was, at least I knew the truth about my mom. She wasn't a thief or a traitor. She was still the same woman who sang me to sleep when I had nightmares, the same woman who called me her little champion even when I failed. She was my mother, and she was willing to risk everything to keep me alive. As the sun rose higher, flooding the apartment with soft golden light, I realized something. Money comes and goes. Secrets can destroy you or protect you. But family is the only thing worth fighting for until your last breath. I hugged my mom tightly, feeling her warmth and her quiet strength. And in that moment, I knew no matter what war came next, we would survive it. Together.